Hey everyone. So, this is a simple problem that I was trying to solve using AI coding assistants. But it's a very good example of how, if you don't take back the controls at the right time and if you just completely depend on AI for your coding, like vibe coding, as is being the trend these days, then it can actually potentially lead to perhaps hours and hours of debugging and head scratching. But if you are in control of your code and you sort of watch out for the critical things and you know the limitations of the AI, right? Then you can actually save a lot of time and you can actually make this whole thing work for you. So, this is the simple case of what I was trying to get to. I wanted to do the visualization of an HTML structure which was prepared by my code, and I was facing a lot of issues. I tried GitHub Copilot first, and I'm doing this on code spaces, GitHub code spaces itself, and again it kept crashing. The HTML was not being prepared, so GitHub Copilot was completely failing at this thing. It kept giving me different code blocks, but it was failing again and again, and I could always see that it was again and again going into the else here, which said failed to create the HTML visualization. And so basically the HTML file was never really saved, right? So I completely got out of GitHub Copilot. I went to Gemini 2.5 Pro, and I gave it a simple prompt like, hey, can you fix this bug? This is the code that I've written. These are my terminal logs. So this is what it suggested first. Okay, so I'll directly take you to the main point that, yeah, the solution it said is you should go for view.tohtml function. Okay, and I started copying this code, and before executing I just thought I'll do a sanity check. So this is what I suggest we should all do. So I'll take you to the main method, the visualize protein method here. And so inside this, the code that it was suggesting me was self.view.tohtml, right? So it immediately said that you can generate the HTML content using 2HTML. And this is where I feel sort of the AI coding assistants, or in general even the best models like 2.5 Pro is right now the best model out there. So this is where it struggles because uh, it doesn't know, and it cannot possibly know all of the libraries that well, right? It may not know all the methods of all libraries inside out. So it may not have that context handy with it, and hence it may hallucinate in a way. So this is one example of it hallucinating, right? So it said that you should go for the 2HTML method, and this is where we should do a sanity check. So if you go back to the code, I just did a simple thing. So at this stage itself, I just saw that, okay, what are the methods that are there within Vue, right? And I could immediately see the 2HTML method, which Gemini 2.5 was suggesting to me, is actually not there in the methods, but there was indeed a write HTML method here. So this is when I realized that, okay, there is some problem with the AI suggested solution. And then you see that write HTML can produce the viewer and save it in a web page to a file, right? So this looked like a potentially correct direction. So this is where you need to take back the controls from the AI suggested code, and this is exactly what I did here. So I actually gave it a screenshot of this method, and I said, hey, there is a method write HTML, can you perhaps use that instead, right? And you see it actually course corrected. So it realized it was hallucinating, and it said, yeah, looking at the documentation, we can actually use write HTML instead. And then it gave me the code again. So now we go to visualize protein, and now if you see, it actually uses the view.write HTML. So both cases it was completely confident about the code that it generated, but you see now you actually gave it a context, right, of the actual method that belongs to that class, and it could generate the code much better. And voila, after this it was completely fine. Once I tried this out, ran it, now the HTML was saved, and you can see I'm able to visualize the HTML as well. So a very simple example of what are the limitations of AI coding assistants, to say that it may not know all the libraries, all the methods that are there, so you have to do your due diligence when you're doing the coding with it. Otherwise you will completely get stuck for hours and hours, right? So this is potentially one way you can debug AI generated issues, AI generated hallucinations, and fix your code.